And I'll start the recording as well for those that are, for those that missed it. Oh yeah, good one, Blue. Nice. Thanks for the reminder. Yeah, I should what's it called? I recently got a new CPU, so the recording should be a lot smoother as well. Oh, actually, I should probably upgrade the quality in recordings. I'll do that later. What's up? Okay. Let's give it a bit for people to join in, and let's just look at the general market after that. Christmas is over, yeah, finally. You know, I'm gonna be honest. I really dislike the holidays. I really dislike them. It's what's it called? Seeing some family and stuff is nice and all. Um, but overall, this stuff just takes too long. Like everything is in the same month and it's all like days after each other. I really hate it. But at least I got some time off the markets. That's really good. And I don't know if anyone noticed, but the moment I took a break, I was gone for like a little over a week. It's on like 10 days or something. And the moment I came back, everything was at nearly the exact same spot as when I left. Like I missed absolutely nothing in that break. Which is goes to show like the holiday season really. It's really weird for the markets. Good morning, Caleb. All right, let's get started. Let's start looking at some charts. Okay, so last time we streamed, last time I gave a class, we looked at the markets, and the main things I wanted to point out was how bullish USDT dominance looked, and that was like still in this region, right? Um, and we are seeing the exact opposite now, because what we've done last time is one of our we had main confluence number one. These are colored a bit ugly now, but we had two very high time frame harmonics. Well, those are still there. We can't remove those. However, we had an SFP to the downside. We had this wick that we wicked within and then closed above several times, confirming the SFP. We then had a little smiley face over here, where we kind of started forming a bottoming structure like this, and then we started closing above it. Now, I will say, because we did close several candles above these highs, right? So if we go on a slightly lower time frame, we have shifted uptrending structure. However, on those time frames, on the time frames where we did switch structure to an uptrending structure, we did that back now. So this is where we went to an uptrend, and we instantly broke it back to a downtrend over here, because this was a very nice low, and we have just broken it. So I want to point out that if you look at this on the daily, this is a swing failure pattern. This is an SFP. We wicked way within, took this high, and then closed way below. And if we go on to a lower time frame, so this one, you can see that we have once again shifted the structure to a downtrending structure. This is very bad for USDT dominance. And the reason why is, well, it's very simple, right? Markets either move like this, or they move like this. That this SFP on the daily time frame resulted in us breaking structure to this means that USDT dominance is now simply downtrending, which is really good for crypto, because now we can assume that crypto is going to keep uptrending because it's the opposite of USDT dominance. So that doesn't mean we cannot go higher, right? Because the high that broke the low is over here, is this high. So in theory, this is still intact until we close above this. However, we can use it for a thesis. We cannot use it for a play because this is simply not a good play, right? This is not a good short, because your main TP area is going to be like 0.7 or down. But we can use it for direction. So that is why the moment I got back, I was looking at these things and I'm like, this chart looks good. Like in general, USDT dominance looks good for lower. And we can use that to add spot positions. We can use that to get into longs. We can use it for a bias. We cannot actually trade this, but we can use it for a bias. So what we do then is we want to know what we want to long. So for this reason, because this chart looks bearish, we know that we want to long. We should have an upwards bias. So how do we find out what we want to long? Well, first of all, I want to sync it up with BTC. I want to look at BTC and see if there's anything up. Well, when we go on to BTC, the main thing you'll notice, if I remove this deep wrap real quick, is that we are sitting right above this box. We're kind of front running the support, but we've already flipped the support once, right? So we don't necessarily need to touch it. And on top of that, this also SFP'd. Now, I am very sad that I wasn't trading when this happened, because this is a very textbook long, where you would have just taken the long on the candle close, put your stops below the wick, and your main TP is going to be this wick. So that is very sad, but it is playing out currently. It is playing out. We are currently about more or less at mid-range. This is not a perfect position to start getting into new positions, because you can also just see, even if I don't include any harmonics, right, you can also just see that, hey, we have this little demand zone over here. If you draw it from this wick, or draw it from this, pull it to the right, we are at resistance. Or if we use a little fib pool, you can see, hey, we are currently almost at that 0.5 fib. So this isn't a position where I would look for new longs. However, we can see the BTC looks strong. So with that reasoning in mind, we can look at altcoins, because maybe altcoins are in an entirely different spot. Maybe altcoins are at support, or have just, for example, flipped this box to support. And then we can use that. Because we know USDT dominance looks bearish. We know BTC looks pretty good. It might be in a position where we cannot trade it, somewhere at mid-range, slightly below, like above this level. We can't do anything with that, but we do know, hey, this is probably going to keep going up. So with that in mind, we can start looking at altcoins. And before we do that, we want to know what BTC dominance is up to. I'm going to keep this short because we went over this in the last few streams as well, and it's playing out according to that analysis. Long story short, we bounced off the shark that we predicted back in that giant post I made a while ago when I exited a lot of spot positions. We bounced off of that, went a bit higher than expected, came back down, retested it as resistance. So this 5-0 box, we went above it, never flipped it to support, came back down, and then had a really nice retest. And we are now dropping. So as for this chart, this still looks bad. So this still looks like it wants to go back to the shark over here, or at least take these lows. So with that reasoning in mind, that also supports, hey, maybe we just want to be looking at altcoins. BTC is in the most random spot it can be in. Completely unactionable. We can't do anything with it. But USD dominance looks bad. BTC dominance looks bad. And what's it called? And by putting those things together, we can get to the conclusion, hey, the market's going to go up, BTC dominance is likely going to go down. So let's look at altcoins, because that altcoins benefit from both of those things. So with that, we have a really nice thesis. So with that in mind, we can start looking at altcoins. Now, what altcoins you want to look at when you get a thesis like this, you kind of keep going and narrowing it down. In general, I usually just kind of scan through the market in the morning. So I have like a really nice macro list where I only chart this on very high time frames. So for example, I just look at this and I see, hey, ARP is just flipping this to support right now. Look at EFI. Well, EFI is doing the same, but this is really not a position where we can add. ENS, same story. OP is actually in a decent spot. I was considering adding here. And it's going well, but it is what it is. Didn't get the entry. But I will be looking at this once it comes back, once we flip this to support. Yeah, what's up, E? Okay, so we want to know, well, what's called, we know that altcoins are probably the place we want to be at. There's a lot of things that are pointing towards altcoins overperforming. So with that information, let's start looking at some altcoins. Now, I want to give a little trick, because what I've just done is just narrowing it down, knowing what we should look at, right? And we've done that a lot in the past. That is not something new to people that come here every week. However, we can pull that one further. We can do that once again. And for that, we need to know a bit how altcoins work, right? And I'm not going to go into fundamentals because I don't use fundamentals, but some parts are really important. For example, we know that a coin like, let's say, GTO, this is a Solana liquidity staking token, right? Or liquid staking. So for GTO to perform well, it is very good if Solana is also performing well, because this token is tied to Solana. And the same with, let's say, Elia. This is tied to Ethereum. And the same with other sectors, right? For example, what's it called? Render is an AI coin. So all AI coins need to be doing good for Render to also do good. So for that reason, what I usually do to find the tokens I want to look at is I have different coins in every region that I look at to see if that sector is going to do well. So for example, we know we want to long altcoins, so I will just look at Solana first. Does Solana look good? Well, in general, Solana looks fine. It broke out. Solana looks really strong. It broke out of this consolidation range, but it hasn't given a real retest yet, right? And we're heading up to resistance currently. However, Solana does look really strong. So, what's it called? If it ever comes back and then flips this area to support, just place a little box there. In that case, we might want to be looking at Solana or related plays. Because clearly this token does have a lot of demand now. So that should mean that the ecosystem is also going to get a lot of demand. So even though this isn't actionable right now, because we are just heading into resistance and we're likely going to either reject or flip to support, if it comes back down and we do get a retest of this level, we can not only look at Solana but also add related tokens. And we can do the same thing for Ethereum. So ETH does look pretty good. Literally just broke out of this range, and resistance is a bit further but still rather close. We can do that for Ethereum. We know that trick already. However, I want to point out that you can do that for more sectors. So for example, AI in general performs according to two things. Sometimes you can look at NVIDIA. If NVIDIA is doing well, because NVIDIA is seen as like the big AI company, right? If NVIDIA is doing well, that means AI is likely going to do well too. However, I have started looking at Fed as a general kind of leader for AI, for the reason that ASI is just a bunch of AI tokens merged into the same ticker, and that is likely going to catch a lot of attention. For that reason, if people are going to look at AI, it's a very good chance they're going to look at Fed first. So if people want to buy AI, which is one of the reasons why it's going to go up, right, then Fed should look good. Because if Fed doesn't look good, well, who's here to say that the other less popular AI tokens are going to do good? So in this case, I think AI is going to do really well. AI tokens are one of the token categories I'm mainly looking at. I'm mainly looking at AI and I'm looking at ETH. And that is mainly because Fed looks so good. And it's both Fed and Fed BTC. Because Fed BTC especially is at a macro really important level. So when you look at Fed BTC, we have a very, very high time frame bullish harmonic. And on top of that, a few days ago, or well, a few weeks ago, I guess, we swept the lows and we're just seeing a reaction of that now. This is a very typical bottoming structure where you have such a macro harmonic, a very high time frame harmonic, and once you reach it, you first start kind of consolidating a bit, you form some lows, and eventually you wick those lows and then start getting a real reaction. So that's one of the main reasons why I'm looking at AI coins. That's one of the main reasons why we entered Fed, for example, and why we entered Phil today. Because in general, I think these look really good. And one of the main reasons, in my opinion, is because Fed BTC looks so incredibly good. So as per my view of the market, because I went over it really fast here, like over the reasoning, but the general conclusion, my general view on the market is that I think altcoins look really good. I I can go on literally any token right now, and almost every token is gonna have a bullish harmonic at CMP. Well, not at CMP anymore, but things are already pumping, right? When you look at almost every token, there's always going to be a harmonic somewhere in this region. So I think everything looks good. I think alts look good, especially, and I think in alts, Ethereum-related tokens and AI-related tokens look the best. Also, Adam, why is Adam up 10% on the day? That's really weird. Okay. Yeah, I wanted to say I think the Cosmos ecosystem also looks pretty good, but the Cosmos ecosystem has this kind of tendency to look really good and then not do anything at all. So I'm not all too sure about that. Okay. That was my view on the market, though. So I just came back from my break, so I haven't looked at every ticker yet. So how about we look at some tickers together? So if you have any coin suggestions, put them in chat, and then I'm gonna pick some out, and we're gonna go over those together. What is a Claus? Santa Claus. I recommend staying away from this coin. I'll go over why in a moment. ETH coin. Wait. Oh, Klaus is an ETH coin. Okay, yeah. Let's start looking at H-bar. I haven't looked at this ticker in ages. Wait, what? Okay, this is a Dino coin as well, right? This is doing one of the things that all of those Dino coins were doing a bit ago. Yeah, okay. There is one thing that instantly like stands out to me on this chart. Whenever you get pumps like these, where you just leave this massive, just straight up green candles behind, the first thing I think is I never want to enter spot on this coin anymore. There's no reason for me to enter a spot position here. And the reason why is because even if you enter, let's say here, and you enter the light, your actual invalidation is always going to be way lower. Because this chart, realistically, is uptrending until you close a candle below this. Hey, what's up, Siva? So your actual invalidation is down 86%. So whenever I look at these charts, first thing I think is like, okay, I don't want to enter spot on this anymore. Like, it's too late to enter spot. Okay, so before we look for leverage positions, let's see if there is a harmonic here, because there's a very obvious W shape. We cannot use that high. This one is also too low. When I'm looking for X2Bs, essentially the lowest value you can work with is 0.382 and a slightly off, like 0.7 is whatever. But 0.33, this is too far off. So there's essentially nothing here of those sorts. So we have to use lower shapes. So here we have a really nice 0.618. 0.618 either connects to a Gardley right over here to 786. And this one got ran through, and I think we're currently using the deep Gardley as support. What I'm gonna do for harmonics in this stream is I'm just gonna mark them out with little lines instead of drawing them out entirely and then using the boxes, just so we can get through a bit more tickers than usual. Yeah, I've seen the suggestions, don't worry about it. Okay, so first of all, harmonics like these with 0.618 X2B usually react at the 786 or the 886, so that's this line. And on top of that, they react at the 1.618. That is right over here. Now, since this is an area we're likely going to, our 1.618 is going to be the top of this area, and I'm going to make the 2.618 the bottom of it. So that is going to be somewhere around there. So essentially, this is where the harmonic ends. So what we can see is that we have a nice little gartley over here in this area. We ripped through that, then came back, flipped it to support over there. And now we have a very nice higher target in the form of that crab. So when we're looking for this, when we're looking at this token, we have a very clear support area and a very clear resistance area. So this is what I would use to trade. Now, by doing that, we can see that we are currently sitting somewhere in the middle. Because resistance over here, support over here, we are just somewhere in the middle. So I wouldn't try to trade it right over here. If you don't have an entry already, this isn't the spot to trade. So in that case, I would wait for either of these to tap and then just play that. If this taps, short. If this taps, you're long. But that's only on a high time frame. On a lower time frame, there are harmonics. Oh, it's 707. That's a shame. Is this on the right one? No, it isn't. That is a shame. That's not valid. Let's see. Something else. Also 707. This coin doesn't like me. Okay, we don't have that much over here. So in that case, the only plays I would be looking for a play. The insanity ratios are just completely not aligning. That sucks. Let's see if I can find anything else. Let's just use a fib in that case and use it. Okay, so what we can see with the fib, yeah, I will screenshot it, don't worry. I always screenshot it at the end. Okay, so if we just draw a fib from the highest point in this range to the lowest one, we can see a few things. One, our first reaction after this low formed at the 0.618. So we have reacted off of this already, but we didn't manage to make a new low. We started forming a higher low. So there's a good chance that the second time this taps, this doesn't hold. So in that case, I would be looking at either the 786 or the 886. So in this case, if I make an ABCD, now the 0.707 is very bad for harmonics. However, for 4-leg harmonics or ABCDs, it works really well. Because we can put this at the 1.414, right over there. So by doing this, we get an extra place of resistance. If I align this, yeah, it's almost at the same spot. So essentially, I'm going to extend this to the 886 because we also mentioned that this could be a possible resistance. So by doing this, we can see that, hey, we formed a higher low after reacting off that 618 right over here. So this probably doesn't hold again. So what if it goes higher? Which one of these levels would react? Well, likely the 886. So, what's it called? If you are on longs, I would TP this level for sure. And possibly, if by then the market is showing some signs of weakness, this would also be a really nice area to short. Now, as for longs, I don't see any longs on this chart. If you do like traditional chart patterns, you can see a very clear neckline here. So if it comes back down, you can long that. But that is not something I would trade. Essentially, invalidation would be taking that one. So this would be your short, most likely. Now, I will not personally take this short. I don't set limits for it. I like to wait for reactions. However, it is a very nice area. So if you see a good reaction, that would be a place you can short. It's this one that you wanted to screenshot off, right? And there's a screenshot. If I actually take any of the plays in stream, by the way, I will put it in my channel. Because, what's it called? I chart a lot, so the actual plays I'm gonna take are just gonna be in my channel. It's easier for everyone. Okay, let's see. H-bar and then Pepe. Okay, this doesn't look good. First of all, first thing I noticed is this. Let's go back to market structure, what we did at the start, right? Markets either move like this, or they move like this. So if you see lows like this being broken, and we do this based on candle closes, right? So if you see candle closes below the previous low, you know that you are likely downtrending. If you see candle closes above the previous high, you are likely uptrending, because the market moves like this. It's very simple. So now that is refreshed, let's look at this. We have our high, we have our low, another high. What do we have now? What do we see here? Are we uptrending or downtrending on this time frame? Yeah, it's a lower low. So this chart, logically speaking, is now downtrending. So as for Pepe, this might go higher, but it is very likely to break this low before breaking this high. Now, in general, can we play that? No, that is not a good short. However, we can use that. So we know from the start of the stream that we are looking for longs. So we have a long bias, right? And we are trying to choose what coins are we going to get plays on. But Pepe is downtrending. So even though the market in its entirety looks really good and the market looks good for longs, Pepe doesn't for some reason. For some reason, this coin is downtrending. So with situations like these, I would mark Pepe out as a coin I would look for shorts once the market looks ready for shorts. If I'm looking for longs, I have no interest in Pepe. Because after this, we broke structure and we are now in a downtrend. So the moment I'm going to start looking for shorts, Pepe is going to be top of the list. Because this looks bearish. This is a very clear structure shift. And this is also a bearish Quasimodo, right? Where you do this. You break structure here and then you make another high. So there's a very good chance that somewhere over here there's going to be a high put in. This looks like a bearish Quasimodo. It's very textbook. So without even charting harmonics, I think this coin looks bad. This coin is in a downtrend, so Pepe is likely going to go lower. Okay, so now that we know that, let's look for shorts. Okay, let's see. First of all, this is really annoying that that point is so high up, because that means I'm gonna have to use this X point instead of the one up here, because this is likely gonna invalidate it. Oh wait, it doesn't. Okay, nice. Can I pull that up to the 886? Slightly invalid. I know B to D is out of tolerance for those of you that also trade harmonics, because I see some of my students in here, so I'm gonna get corrected. This is slightly outside of tolerance, but since this is essentially 3.14, it's fine. So I'm going to draw this one out because this is a play I would actually consider taking. Just draw all of the harmonics manually, and yeah, we do get a confluence zone. So essentially this, I'm going to pull it up to this, what's it called? To this 3.618. So it also includes the 2.0 ABCD. And just mark it out as a bat. You can't do that. I mean, I told you in class a few times as well. If you see me making mistakes, you can correct me. Because in the end, I also make mistakes. So something like this is like, yeah, if I don't mention it, this makes it like technically textbook invalid. Well, it doesn't matter. The zone is still confluent, but technically it's outside of tolerance. Doesn't matter much. So I should start thinking about exiting my Pepe spot position that I've held over a year. I wouldn't. Okay, so. Okay, so first of all, I am not going to tell you to straight up exit a spot position, right? What I can tell you is if one of the reasons why you took that trade was, hey, Pepe is uptrending. Like I look at the daily chart and it looks like an uptrend. If that was one of your confluences, that confluence is gone. So if that was a very important confluence, well, it isn't there anymore. So if that changes your play, then yeah, you should consider taking some profit. Or, for example, move your stops up. Should you fully exit just because I said it's downtrending now? No, you shouldn't. Go back to the reason, like why did you take that initial trade? If that reason is still valid, absolutely just stay in. Because I can't tell you what to do, right? If your reasoning is invalid now that Pepe is in a downtrend, then you should exit. But that's not because I told you so. That is because your thesis is invalid. If the reason you took the trade is invalid, then you should exit. Okay. So when we look at this, and when we look at this for the reasoning for shorts, right, because it is downtrend and because of the bearish Quasimodo, we have a very nice bat over here. So apart from this B to D, this bat has really nice ratios. So when we look at this could absolutely get a reaction. However, we seem to be reacting early, and since A to C is essentially a 0.618, yeah, there it is. I'll color code this to make it easier to see. So when we measure the ABCD and count this as a 0.618, this becomes a 1.618, and what we get is we get two little lines. First of all, that 1.618, and second of all, the actual distance between the two. So the 1 is right over there. So this would be resistance. So we get two levels on Pepe. We get a level up here where we can possibly short. So I'm going to remove the brushes and just change this to structure break. We have two nice levels, right? We have level number 1 over here. Gonna mark the numbers out in case anyone is gonna use this for plays later. And we have level number 2 right over here, which is what we're currently looking at. This is our current level. So this is an ABCD, and essentially what this pattern says is if your A to B move is this long, and your C to D move is equally as long, then you can expect a reaction there. Which is what we're currently seeing, right? We reacted to it once. Now if we react to it again, up for debate. Yeah, I'll see you later, boo. However, we do seem to be reacting again. So what I would look for if I was in a lot of longs, this is a possible area to start a hedge. This is an area where you can start possibly shorting. Now that is also accompanied by the RSI having bearish divergences. So you take these based off the candle closes, right? Not the wicks, because RSI works off of closes. So you can see this is your previous high. This is your current high. This is higher. But meanwhile, the RSI is lower. So that means there's a bearish divergence on the chart at resistance. Now, that doesn't mean that it has to go down, but it does mean if we get like another sign of weakness, because we have two very good confluences now, right? We have, oh, well, three actually. We know that we're in a daily downtrend. That's confluence number 1. We have our second confluence in this bearish harmonic. that we tapped and we have validated because we're reacting off of it. So that's confluence number 2. Number 3 is going to be this bearish divergence. So I would say that is honestly enough to take a trade. Now, that doesn't mean go and short it right now, but that does mean, hey, this coin is very interesting for shorts. Honestly, if I was in like several longs right now, my account, my leverage account is flat at the moment, right? Because I was on a break. If I was in a lot of longs, I would consider shorting this. So now the only thing we have left to do is look for an entry. What can we use for an entry? Let's see. What if we pull a volume profile from the high to the low? We get our VAL right over here. It's really nice. Or what if we use anchored VWAP? No, we're above that. Okay, so as for other confluences, we don't have all too many. So what I would look for is I would go onto a lower time frame and look for reactions. For example, if there's a wick over here, if we kind of wick within it and then close below, just take the highs out and then start closing below again, that would likely turn into an SFP. If that happens, that would be a really nice short trigger. I'm going to answer your question later, Chicky. I can... I know that some other Dutch person in the call is also going to laugh at me saying that. Okay, whatever. Okay, so why would you consider shorting if you were in a lot of longs but not now? So, because the general market looks really good in my eyes, but Pepe specifically doesn't, my bias is towards longs. So, I want to be able to long. If I only have a short open, I would now be net short. So even though I think the market is going to go up, I am net short. I don't have a single long open, but I am shorting. So then if I am right, my account is going to go down. That doesn't make any sense. However, if I have, let's say, 3 longs open, I have a lot of upside exposure already. If I'm right, I'm going to make money. And then opening that short allows me to, hey, even if I'm wrong, that Pepe short is going to make up for any potential losses. That's called hedging. It's protecting you against downside. So taking this, if I was in a lot of longs, would make a lot of sense. But taking it now doesn't make sense because I think the market's going to go up. What's the best research you may recommend to start learning about harmonic trading, starting with the basics? All you're explaining super interesting, but I'd like to know more and be able to do this myself at some point. Okay, so there are two things I recommend. Number one, and I'm gonna say this fully knowing that I am like including myself in that, right? Indirectly. Harmonics have a lot of misinformation about them. So if you're gonna learn harmonics, you should learn it from the Harmonic Trader books. These are the books by Scott Carney. He's the one who made them, so that is the source. And they are completely free. I have them in my pinned messages already. So that is a fantastic place to learn. I recommend staying away from random people on the internet that say they trade harmonics, because there's a lot of people that don't know what they're doing. Wait, let me link that message. Where do I learn harmonics? There it is. The books are in that post. That is a post where I explain how I learned harmonics and how I recommend it. If you're not someone who likes that, I also give a course. My course is going to open up in 2 weeks again. So I haven't publicly opened signups yet, but if you are interested, you can send me a DM as well, and I'll help you out with that. Those are the 2 ways that I can recommend it. Number 1 is just go to the source, go to the books, and what's it called? Learn from the books, learn from the sheets. And the other one is you can always DM me about the course, and I will help you out. Okay, with that being said, let's get back to Pepe. So we know we are currently at resistance, because it is. We have a lot of confluence for shorts. However, we are going against our idea of the market. So I wouldn't short simply because I think the market's going to go up, right? our bias at the start of the stream that we got is saying up, so we shouldn't expose ourselves to only downside. So if you are in a lot of longs and you see something happening along these lines, let me remove the brushes, where you wick the highs and then go back below or close candles below, I would consider a short like this. I'm going to put the stop loss above this squiggle because this is above the wick. We haven't formed this yet. If that happens, I would short, and looking at this, we haven't wicked the lows a single time. So if this coin starts going down, it likely won't stop until like somewhere over here. And considering we are in a daily downtrend, logically speaking, we should make a lower low. Because we would have a lower low, a lower high, theoretically, right? We haven't done this yet, but that's the idea behind short. And then, logically speaking, a lower low comes next. So this would be the target, most likely. So I'm going to mark this out as an SFP short. So wick the highs, close below, and then you can take a short. That is also why this is here. That is what I would look for in Pepe. Now, if we do get slightly higher, we can start looking. We can start looking somewhere in this direction, and I would actually look for that myself. I have seen your TU suggestion. Don't worry. So in that case, stops would be something like this, right? We aren't there yet, so it's a bit hard for me to make a stop loss, but it would be something along these lines. Again, I think that is it for Pepe. Yeah, I think that's about it. If I actually want to keep this chart the way it is in case we have to come back to it later. The last thing I'll do is see, yeah, that bounced off of 618. So if that starts happening, and I know I'm drawing a really low target up right now, if that starts happening, that is a big if. If Pepe starts downtrending there, in that case, I would look a lot lower. Because if it goes into the daily downtrend again, we have a very nice Gartley right over here. Now, I will say I'm drawing the entire thing out. It can change because we can still make a higher C point. It likely will change because this doesn't look all too confluent. 7 and 6 right over there. But if that short fully plays out, this is what I would look for. This will be my kind of final target. Because on a very high time frame, it is possible for Pepe to reach this. It would make sense, and Pepe would still be in a very high time frame uptrend. For example, if we go on to the weekly, right? The weekly is still very obviously uptrending, even if we reach this Gartley. So if that short plays out, this is what I would look for. I don't think it's going to play out all the way over here because we are in a very strong market at the moment, right? That's also why I'm not instantly shorting. But if it does play out, this is what I would look for. Something along these lines. That would obviously be a long you can actually just hold until the A point at least, probably, because you are just uptrending. Okay, what was the next one? I'm gonna look at the prop first. So I like this one. This is the one we charted last stream as well. And we actually got the exact trigger. Look at this. This is the trigger I gave last stream. Said go above, retest it as support, and then you go higher. And we currently already reached TP1. I really like this chart in general. I think this coin looks really strong. We should have honestly entered last stream. Because I only gave it as a chart suggestion. We should have actually just entered it. Oh well. Yeah. These are still my thoughts on the prog. Now, it does look like we formed an extra harmonic here. No, that's not it. Yeah, this is slightly same story as last time. This is slightly invalid. Now, what we see here is the exact same thing I just showcased on Pepe, right? Is your low or high, low, high, lower, low, lower, high, logically speaking. So, would I enter here? No, I wouldn't. Because this is now a downtrend, right? On the 6 hour, which we're on, and the 4 hour, this is a downtrend. So I wouldn't enter here. However, if we get like an entry in this area again, that would be really nice. Because this probably, yeah, this has a really nice order block as well. Yeah, very nice daily order block now, right over here. So, essentially, if you go back down and you get a retest into this area, this is where you want to buy. Now, if we get all the way down into the godly, I doubt it. I don't think we get there. I think this coin is too strong. If we do, it's a nice area. Especially if you, for example, like wick the lows and then climb above, that would be really good. But this would be your buy zone. Let me just mark it out like that. Yeah, so that would be your buy zone. I think this this will be the area to buy. And you have very easy invalidation as well, because if you just make another low, your entire idea of, hey, we are swapping structure would be invalid. That would just be another lower low. And that means this coin is likely just going to go way lower. So invalidation is easy as well. If you ever start closing below this, you cut. That is also why I wouldn't enter like right here. Because if you pull that down to the candle closes, that is a 40% drop. That is a lot. That is not something I like to take as a stop loss, right? So I wouldn't enter a position here. If you get slightly lower, that would be a lot better. If let's say you just DC across this zone, your entry is likely going to be somewhere in the middle. That's already a 14% stop. Still a lot, but manageable, considering that this is a rather low cap meme coin. So 14% stop loss on that is pretty good. And your targets would be these light blue lines. Those are the targets. Okay, there was one coin suggest. Did you edit it? No, I didn't. It was in a different message. Okay. There was one coin suggestion, this one, where I said you shouldn't be trading this, and I will explain you why. Yeah, Klaus. Okay. So when we look at charts, as traders, what we want is a few things. Because if you are truly trading, you don't care if the market goes up. You don't care if the market goes down. You care about knowing what direction it goes in. And one of the ways we do that is by wait, that was a bad setup. You just care about about knowing which direction it's gonna go in, and we do that because we are better at trading than the average person. That is the idea. So we want to be trading against a lot of people. That makes it easier to trade. That is why a lot of people will be trading a lot of meme coins, because meme coins are easy to trade. There's a lot of people trading them. There's a lot of volume on meme coins. They constantly move up and down. They keep moving in whatever direction they want to go in. Charts move a lot. There's a lot of people trading them. There's high volume, etc. That is also why weekends are tricky to trade, because on weekends less people are trading. Volume is lower, so that makes it harder to trade. When we look at this, and you see candles like these, where you have massive wicks and just complete no wicks at all. It's complete flat candles. Price didn't even move in that entire hour over here. Just 2 hours of nothing happening. Not a single person buying, not a single person selling. When you see things like these, you don't want to trade this. Because who are you trading against? And even if you have a good play, let's say you have a fantastic setup for right over here, for exactly this. How can you know that just one person is just going to sell and it's just going to hit your stop loss? Because this chart has massive wicks. So it could easily, like, there is no liquidity on this chart. It could easily just wick your stop out entirely. And if you do it spot, well, what is there to trade? This coin doesn't do anything. It just goes down. Then it goes up a little bit, and then it just goes down even more. So I wouldn't trade this. Mainly because of the candle structure, right? Massive wicks, and then followed by just nothing. Just indicates that no one is trading. Volume is very low, liquidity is very low. So I would stay away from it, like that. Because why would you be trading this instead of VBAX, for example? Look at it. Structure is way more clear. There are only massive wicks on like liquidation events, right? Massive liquidation event over there. Apart from that, this looks normal. This coin moves the way coins should move. So I wouldn't chart clouds. Last one was PopCat. No PopCat, I think this is a schizo chart, right? No, it's only a time frame chart. Yeah, PopCat, I posted this on my Twitter like yesterday, I think. Or the day before. I think PopCat looks really good. The only problem I have with PopCat is that it front ran me. I wanted to give a signal in this little box, in this video over here, but it just barely front ran. So what I'm looking for right now is for it to come back down and flip this diagonal to support. And if it does that, I want to look for longs. This PopCat looks really good. Yeah, as Maddie said, it's breaking above that 707. It's retesting the old golden pocket right now. So, in general, I would look for PopCat over here. If we start flipping this to support, that's when I would look to take a position. Alternatively, if we don't flip it to support, that's when I would be looking at the Leo or the bat. Yeah, because this closed barely below. This wicked within closed below, so this is likely going to reject. There's a good chance this is going to reject and go lower. So if it does that, maybe we can look for longs somewhere in this region. Now, I cannot give you the exact entry, right, because we're basing it onto a diagonal. And I cannot, like, pull this one up. Can't do that. So I'm just going to give it somewhere over here, and you have to know that it's based on the diagonal. I just moved that thing. I drew this fan by putting it at the swing low. Exactly how I drew the fib, right? Exactly how I drew the fib, I drew the fan as well. So I drew it from the swing low to all-time high. It's a very important price lag, so that's why we can draw a fib or a fan there. It's because we're saying this is a very important low and a very important high. So this move signals something very important. So then we use that to draw our fibs. That's how I drew the fan, and this is the 0.886. You can, what's it called? I wouldn't put any suggestions in there anymore. I can't chart all of that. There's like 20 different suggestions. I don't have the time for that. We're gonna be here for hours if I do that. I should actually add Hyperliquid to my list though. Wait, let me do that. Either of these should have the oldest. Why is Hyperliquid not like an option on this? Is it only for CEXs? Yeah. Well, whatever. It should be on any of those. Okay. Anyway, to end PopCat, that is where I would enter. I would look for a flip of this diagonal somewhere over here. And then try and take it up to the black swan. And don't be fooled by that name. Name doesn't mean anything. It's just another harmonic. Although it does look pretty daunting. So that's essentially what I'll be looking at for PopCat. Okay, Tia. And that guy really wanted Tia. Because he posted it like 3 or 4 times. So let's do Tia. Okay. Let's take a Tia. Well, first of all, our spot position is going really well. That's nice to see. It's always nice to see. We are currently up 22%, which is really nice. And we even got a recompound in. We TP'd at like 16%, then added back when it was up 7% or something, which in reality lowers your average. Your exchange is going to higher your average, but you sold high and then bought back low. So logically speaking, your average is lower. So for simplicity, I just kept it the same. So I'm just going to keep measuring from our entry. Yeah, I'll see you later, Maddie. It's nice having you tune in. So we're up about 22% right now. That's really good. And in general, I think Tia looks really, really good. I think this chart, and I posted about it this morning as well. I think this chart, this might be one of the best charts out there. It's at least one of my favorite charts at the moment. And the reason for that is this chart. Okay, first of all, let's start at the beginning, right? Let's actually go into a clean Tia chart. And let's start at the beginning. I was already on that chart. Can I delete this? Yeah, I think I used this for a class. Yeah, like that. Okay. Let's start from the beginning. So, first of all, this is this cycle, right? This is not previous cycle, this is this cycle. This was when like B2 was at like in the 30s, something like that. So, Tia is a coin that has demand. That's what we're seeing over here. Because this coin went from $2.40 to $21 in a time span of a few months, in like 3 or 4 months. People care about this coin. That's what this proves. Now, it went on to a massive sell-off, of course, because this move is incredibly inefficient. We just essentially went up in a straight line. This isn't how markets should move. Markets should move like this, but what Tia did was this. Should have moved like that. Tia never even went down. It's just sideways every time. So essentially, when we started going back down again, because logically speaking, market should move like this, right? When we started going back down again, there was nothing to hold on to. So it just nuked. It went down a lot. However, nothing has changed here. On a very high time frame, all we have is a low and a high. That's actually all we have. This chart on the weekly is uptrending. Very obviously uptrending. Because we listed, started going up. With listings, this is obviously a bit tricky. Like, is it actually uptrending when you only have one low, one high? I'm choosing to say it's uptrending because after listing, it went up. Now, we will have full confirmation of the uptrend once we close above this, right? But in general, I think it went up. In general, it went up, so I assume it's an uptrend. So, this coin should, logically speaking, make a higher low. It would make sense if that's here. Why would it make sense? Because if we, what's it called? If we enable this real quick, you see that on a very high time frame, we have a really nice bat. This bat spans over the entire chart, essentially. Starting at literally the listing wick to all-time high, it goes down, you have a very nice bat. Your bat's 886 is right over here. Now, for that reason, this would be a really good place to make a higher low. So, let's look at it. Are we making a higher low? Well, let's just go purely by market structure. This was our low, our high, lower low, lower high. Hey, what do we have here? A higher low and a higher high. This chart is uptrending on the daily. So no matter what it looks like, this chart is uptrending on the weekly, has a macro harmonic on it, and is uptrending on the daily. And on top of that, RSI, bullish divergences, and a bunch of other confluences you can come up with. This chart looks really good. Invalidation is really clear. If you close a candle below this low, that is your invalidation. At the time of entering, that was like a 10% invalidation for us. in general, the first logical TP would be this. This is going to be your TP1 on the spot position, like the actual TP1. This will be the first logical TP. And that might, when I'm explaining it like this, that sounds reasonable, right? Because after a higher high, a higher low should come in on a higher high. But that, at the time of entering, that's a 100% move. So when I say I think TIA looks incredible, and this is one of my favorite charts, it's because of this. Our invalidation when we entered was only like 10%. Something like that. But our TP1 is up 100%. That is the first technical target. So I think TIA looks incredible. I think the chart looks really good. And I've said it a few times. I've been saying it for this entire range. This is a really good level to buy. This blue line, every time you touch it, you buy. So that's also why in that massive crash, you just bought TIA. It's just on muscle memory, honestly, at this point. Where would you look for a new entry? Well, first of all, if you touch this blue line again, just buy. That is my... what's called? That is the first level I would look at. Apart from that, we are not fully allocated yet. I think I'm like 75% into TIA. The last add I'm going to do is, if we just take lines from the highs over here, if we start flipping this to support, I'm going to be adding more. And it's going to make our average like slightly higher. But we have a lot of confirmation, because at that point the 4 hour is also going to be uptrending. Because the 4 hour is currently downtrending, right? We're going against 4 hour trend. So once the 4 hour is also uptrending, we now have confirmation on like every time frame. So that's what I'm going to be adding to the last like 25%. So that's what I would look for an entry. So flipping this into support would be your entry. Which said leverage on TIA is a bad idea. It depends on your setup, honestly. Because this is, let's say we get that flip, right? This is not a play I would take on leverage, personally. So I wouldn't, but it is not that bad. Like, it's still like 4 RR. It's fine. If you get a really nice setup, you can absolutely play it. It just depends on your setup. Leverage and spot, you can trade them very similar if you want to. So it really just depends on your setup. Yeah, that's also good. What he suggested is also good. That's what I'm doing on Filecoin. So something I really like, now that we're in a very strong uptrending market, is if you want to enter but you don't get like a really good entry, you just enter very light. So I usually do 20%, 25% also completely fine. So let's say you do 25%, and you think, hey, TIA is going to go way higher because of the daily and the weekly uptrend. I want to be in this coin. So you just enter very light, so 25% of your allocation, and you just wait. If it goes significantly lower, let's say it does get to this blue line, well, you're going to be down a bit. You're going to be down 20%. Let's start using numbers. Let's say you want to allocate 1k to a coin. Let's say you want to add 1k into TIA. You enter initially with 25%, so $250. Your $250 are going to be down $50 because you're down 20%, but only on 25%. So you're going to be down $50. And you now have an amazing entry to add back into. So you add, let's say, let's say 50%. So you're now 75% allocated. Your average is going to be at 2/3. So slightly above, yeah, somewhere over here. Your average is now going to be over here. That doesn't make any sense. Oh, wait, it's to the blue line, yeah. That's going to be your average when you touch this. That is completely fine. That is a really good spot entry. And you still have 25% left. And you can add a 25% once you do actually flip this. That's what we're doing right now. So if you really want to enter something, you can enter light and then just add back into it later. If it goes down, you DCA. If it goes up, like what we're doing right now, if it goes up, you just add it a bit higher. And your average is going to be slightly higher if you do that. But who cares about your average? What you care about is that the coin goes up after you buy it. And by adding more, once you flipped this to support, you have so much more confirmation that price is actually going to go up, because now you have broken low time frame structure. You came back to an important level. You have proven that that level is now support and that you belong above it. So you have a lot more confirmation now. So it is a lot more sure that price is actually going to go up. So your average might be slightly higher if you add up. But you bought more, and it is very likely to go up more. So you're going to make more profit. And that's all you care about in the end. So yeah, absolutely. If you want to just enter the light, like let's say 20 to 25%, that makes a lot of sense. I would enter that here. If I had no position open, I would likely just enter like 20% here. Just start a position here. If it goes down, I will ease here. If it goes up, I will add to it. Because the risk reward also just allows for it, right? Because as I said, TP1 is going to be 100% up. My TPs for spot, I don't think I've even posted those. I should maybe post those in my channel. Yeah, I'm gonna post those later. Anyway, so I'm likely gonna be skipping this TP, the 0.382, because we are gonna TP this. The second TP is gonna be, where's my line? Become rusty. Second TP is likely gonna be this. And then the other TPs, I'm gonna base them on harmonics. So there was a shark at the 886. And there's a shark at the 113. Because keep in mind, I said I view this chart as a weekly uptrending chart. Is there any bad news on TIA? No, no clue. I don't follow the news at all. So I have no idea. Yeah, I agree. It looks really good. I really like TIA. That's what I was saying, right? I think this chart is uptrending on the daily, it's uptrending on the weekly. So that's why my TP4 is also a new all-time high. Because logically speaking, you have your low, you have your high, you have a higher low. Next comes a higher high. But that doesn't mean, because that is like way up, right? That doesn't mean I'm not going to be doing anything with this position over here. Because we've been playing the TIA spot position since over here. We've literally been buying, selling, buying, selling. I've been doing the same position ever since I became an analyst. Literally the same buy level and the same sell level every single time. So that doesn't mean that we're not going to actually play the position, but in general, I do expect a higher high. So I do expect a new all-time high. Other side, or said in a different way. But anyway, these are my TP levels for T. I'll post them in my channel later. I don't know why I haven't done that. Let's see. Hype, Gala, Jupe, Pengu. Were there any other suggestions? Floki, Hype, Doge. You change your suggestions. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna... Yeah, okay, that's the last one. I don't actually think I'm gonna get to all of those, because that's a lot of judge suggestions. But I'll do Hype first, because I know a lot of people are looking at it. Okay. Let's see. Which one has the most data? That one doesn't. That one doesn't either. There's this one. Okay. I do assume that it has a ghost wick. Yeah. Let's look at this chart. So I'm gonna completely ignore this wick because this is a ghost wick. I cannot use this. Apart from that wick, we can instantly see the reason as to why I usually don't chart coins like this. Two reasons. Specifically for Hype. Hype has a ridiculously high market cap already. I don't think there's much upside left. Even if it does get a lot of upside, I think other coins have more. So for Spot, I'm not super interested in at these levels because of the market cap. But it still looks good, right? But the second reason, and this is the main reason as to why I don't trade Hype, is this. When we look for M and W shapes, which is what I trade, right? We have one M shape over here. We have maybe another over here. But that's about it. That's actually it. So, as for why I don't trade a lot of hype, this is the reason why. I cannot chart a lot. Now, I can chart the shark, for example. There's a shark over here from the 618, from BD 1.618. But the chances of this hitting is really low. I don't think hype's gonna hit $11, right? Yeah, when I pull this to the 786, this is also, yeah, I'll include it actually. It's gonna draw 2 fibs. What's it called? Need this one as well. Yeah, so essentially, these will be the only levels I can get. And the last one is at the sharp 113 right over here. So why I don't trade a lot of these new tokens is for this reason. I can get a very easy buy level over here because this is a very clean level. There's a very good shark over there, and there's a good reason if it ever gets there to buy. But what is actually the chance that it's going to go there? The chance is really, really low. I don't think hype is ever going to go that low. So I can give you a buy level here, but please don't expect it to actually get there. Because it likely doesn't. Now the other one, this might hit. If it ever gets this level, I think this is a really good level. So this might hold. That would be a really good level. This probably doesn't. But this chart, we wicked this? No, we didn't. See if we can get anything if we zoom in a bit more. I know what is said about wicks and candles in the past. This is just because we're on Qcoin and no one trades on Qcoin. So this is not actually because of the token, this is because of the exchange. The candles look so weird. Yeah, so that's the 707. This is a 786, that's nice. 786 goes to a 1272. Let me hide this. That's also going to go into the same box. Okay, so yeah, this would be the level I would look for online. That was actually a really nice level, I didn't expect that. I was going to use this as an example to showcase why I don't trade these tokens. But this is actually a really nice level. And last one, a TBFE like that. And that is a butterfly. Just like that. Yeah, that will be a really nice level to buy. It's a really clean butterfly over here. I will put the what's it called? Put the cheat sheet up on the screen real quick. It is one of these fellas. So if we do get there, if we do actually get to that box over there, so between, what is it, like $17 and 16.1, that would be a really nice area to start buying. That would also take all of these lows out right over here. Yeah, it's actually exactly the same spot. So there's a good chance that that gets wigged, and then you go, there you go higher. So this would likely be the play. And I can give you TPs, but these are estimations because I always base these off of the harmonic itself. But we obviously haven't formed it yet, so we don't know where exactly the low is going to be. But the technical targets would be somewhere over here. And then this one as well. Yeah. This would be what I'd look for on hype. If we get there. And I think it's realistic. I think this can hit. As long as we're like kind of trying to flip this B point back to support right now, right? But we're kind of failing. If we keep hanging below this B point, I think this can hit. a very textbook butterfly as well. Like, it's very clean how this is like exactly the 786 and exactly a 224 at that 1272. So this is really nice. So I'm gonna what's it called? I'm gonna remember that one. And if we ever get there, I'm likely gonna buy it. Or trade it, I guess. I don't feel like getting on the actual exchange. Okay, bonk. Bonk, bonk. Already have a bonk chart. Oh, this one's running today. Because there's this guy in some other Discord that just keeps asking about bonk. Like, I think he's been asking for like initial months now, so I keep giving him the same chart over and over again. And obviously, very typical, he didn't actually buy at the level I gave him. Which is very, very typical. This always happens. But anyway, as for bonk, I think bonk looks really good, honestly. Chart looks incredible. I mentioned this in other streams as well. The only reason why I didn't actually give this as a call is because invalidation is wide. It's like 30%. So I don't feel comfortable like giving that as a signal, right? Because I am okay with myself losing 30% because I would just position it different, right? I would just use less size. So I won't actually lose that much. But I don't want others to actually lose 30% on a random S call. Because 30% spot is a lot. But either way, that's the reason why we don't have an active position. But in general, I think it looks really good. So the technical targets for this spot play are the 0.382, which we're almost at. This is TP1. And then the second one is TP2, the 618. So what I would look for on bonk is if we reject here, I would look for an entry either over here, or if we get lucky again at the Leo. Which it looks like we could possibly be doing, right? So if that happens, I would look for re-entries over here. And since we've already validated the harmonic by then, invalidation would be losing the actual harmonic again. So this would likely be your play. It's going to be your TP1, and that's going to be your TP2. Well, I'll just literally move these a bit. It's easier. So that's what I will be looking for. And honestly, same reasoning as last few times, right? This chart on a high time frame is uptrending. It's a very clear and easy uptrend. So we can expect this to hit. If we do get another bouncer. So for that reason, that would be my main target. Yeah, actually, let me include that. There it is. Let's see, what else do we have? Say is good as well. Say looks good, and we also just have an active position on that, right? Where is Say? It's right over there. Say looks good. We're in some good profit. I really like that. This chart looks incredible overall. I don't see a reason why Say wouldn't go to $1 again, at least. Because it's almost, if you trade a lot of pips, you will notice that this is actually a thing that keeps happening. But it is almost comical that the first bearish harmonic, or like the first big bearish harmonic, forms at almost $1. There's 1.618 to a 786. Just barely front runs $1. Because there's the 618. And the 786 is right over there. Both of those are very slightly below $1. I don't see a reason why Say wouldn't go to $1 again. I really don't. Because, once again, this chart is uptrending. On the weekly, this chart is uptrending. We can expect a new all-time high because it is uptrending. Where would you look for a re-entry? We just had one. If you want to still enter, I would wait for this area to be flipped into support. Which, because we're not fully allocated here, right? I think we're going to say with like 50% because we didn't actually add back in. So I'm going to be adding there as well if we actually do flip this to support. So this is where I would look for an entry. Or if we go lower, I would look for an entry over here. So either 0.445 or 0.416. Either of these. Or same story as last time on TA, you enter very light, and then you either DCA down or DCA up. As for the actual TPs, if you want to trade this, this is going to be TP1, and this will be TP2, because those are the TPs that belong to the Harmonic. 618 and a 382. And if this 382 TP hits, there is a good chance that these lows get taken out. So you would actually get an entry over here. Depends on the reaction. If you reject at the 382, then there's a good chance you wick the lows again. That would be perfect if that happens, because then we can both get a TP in and get a recompound it. That would be literally perfect. But that's what I would be. That's what I would be looking for. And as for actual high time frame targets, the 0.5 TP is a must, because this is a very big bearish harmonic. And after that, I would look for $1. But in general, I think this coin is really good. Your actual invalidation is just breaking the daily uptrend, right? This is your low on the daily. So closing below that is your invalidation. That's why I wouldn't just enter over here, because if you enter just CMP right now, that's a 30% stop loss. So if you want to take that, you'd have to take a really light first entry. So like starting a position would be fine, but don't just full port at CMP. Your invalidation is like the minus 30%. That's way too much. That's not worth it. That's also the difference, right? Our DCA is filled 16%. And that's still rather wide. That's wider than I like. But the setup was really, really confluent. Like we had everything. So in that case, a minus 16% is worth taking. Especially with how much upside Say has left. Okay, so I did hype. I'm not going to do everything. I'm not going to do all of the suggestions. We had way too much. And my voice, what's it called? My voice is not going to handle that. So Hood, if you could pick one from, you gave like 5 suggestions. If you could pick one of those, which one would it be? The other one was going to be Magic Eden and WLD. So WLD, ME, and +1. The +1 is at the Hood. He's going to get to choose the last one. Okay, let's go to ME. ME, I looked at this chart today to show someone something. So I want to point this out. First of all, uptrending chart. Even though this is an airdrop token, this is now uptrending. It would make sense to buy. In general, it makes sense to buy in this area. That's what I'll say. Because this chart is very clearly uptrending. This is going higher over time. The chance that it goes higher is simply higher than that it goes lower. So, first of all, I do have a long bias on this. Now, where do we actually enter? Well, sad story, we missed the actual entry. Oh, misplaced that. We missed the entry. There was a really nice deep hardly over here. And we missed that. However, do we tap the 302? No. Okay. So what I would look for is 2 things. If we reject this 302, I would look for 2 plays for entry. One, would be the 0.236. That would be my first level of interest. And the second one would be simply taking out these lows. And the reason why I say that, even though that is a rather... No, actually, that's not that big of an invalidation. Yeah, that's not that bad. Okay. No, I might actually look for that. Okay. So, because of what we're doing right now, we have added this as the daily low. So, until this low is closed below, and this is a close, right? Not a wick. That's very important. Until we close below, this chart is uptrending. That is a very important part of the thesis, because this chart is in a daily uptrend, and then we have a Gartley forming at that uptrend. This is our invalidation. So if we get down here again, I would absolutely look for a position on this, because you have very easy invalidation. And your invalidation, even taken from CMP, is minus 12%. If you're someone that doesn't like to actively watch the charts, and you're like, hey, I just want to get into my positions and leave them be, it wouldn't even be bad to just set these limits. It would make sense. And then, actually, I'm going to make the entry things golden, and then the TP is blue. Now, for that reason, these would be the TPs. 3A2 is going to be TP1, 61A is going to be TP2, and main target is going to be 1. This would make sense. Now, if I would actually take that play, probably not, because TP1 is 6% away while stop loss will be like 9% away starting from a DTA. Not that great of a risk reward. But if you want to start a position in this area, that makes a lot of sense. So these would likely be my DCA bids. Now I am someone that likes to actively trade, so I'm going to only take those based off a reaction or based off whatever we do when we get to that area. But it would make a lot of sense to enter in that area, especially because this chart is just clearly uptrending. Yield subtip. And in a clear uptrend, you want to have long exposure, right? So if you like this token, then this is not a bad idea to get into a position somewhere over here. So building a position. Don't just fully CMP in though, right? Because your first actual resistance is like right above you. So that doesn't make any sense. But it does make sense to get into a position. Tipper sent me a bunch of DMs. Let's see. He has pinned something. Is it another gay bet? No, okay. I'll read that later. I'm not gonna read that during stream. So every time I see a pinned message, wait, let me actually check before I say something that's not true. Yeah, most of the times when Tip pins a message in our DMs, it is just another gay bet. We go to this price before this time, or I'm gay. It's all about this time, yeah. Improvement. No, I was about to say you're a gambling addict at this point. Just keep betting and betting. If you lose, you're just gonna bet more, trying to make it all back. Okay, WLD was the next one. Is there a next shot? No, there isn't. Unlucky. What a beautiful random line. That fan. What a beautiful random line. Okay, can you drop your BTC chart here? I have way too many. But BTC, the conclusion out of the BTC chart, because I think that's what you care about, is that I have absolutely no idea where it's going. It does look strong, but I have no idea where it's going. I do not know if it's going to go up or down, even though it looks strong. So we're looking at altcoins instead. Because USDT dominance looks bearish, BTC dominance also looks bearish. So the bias is long, but we're just looking at altcoins instead. Okay, so as for WLD, in general, this is a very high time frame shark and a very confluent one as well. I think this chart looks really, really good. Because what you did is there's a massive move up, inefficient move up. Just look at this. There's not a single red candle or a single like sideways structure. Got entirely deleted. That entire move is gone. However, the moment we hit that shark, consolidated for a bit, and instantly just broke the trend again. We're now uptrending again, right? And not only that, we then wick the low, close way above. This looks really good. On a high time frame, this looks really, really good. Especially because you like kind of wick this, closed above, and then retested it even. This is really good. So WRD instant bias is higher. Now with an enter, it's a bit tricky. You're clearly at resistance, so I probably wouldn't enter. Start a position, maybe. I would look at the actual entry if we flip this fan to support. That's what I would look for an entry. Because in general, this chart looks really good, but just entering here just feels a bit off. Starting a position is possible here, I just wouldn't enter. Now if you, what's it called? Get another tap into this, because you have a really nice top of the shark PRC right over here, and a diagonal fan over here like that. Then I would absolutely take an entry. Something like this, most likely. You're targeting way higher, so having a slightly higher, wider stop loss is completely fine. This would be like your main target, right? Other target would be this one. So either flip this to support and play the long from over here. And I cannot actually give you invalidation for that at all, right? Because you're gonna go up, make a low somewhere in this area, and your stops are just gonna be below that low. And the target's probably gonna be this fan or this high. And obviously this high. In general, this chart looks really, really good. This is a play I would likely go for. Stop loss obviously not that refined. Otherwise I would enter on a flip to this diagonal. But in general, this chart looks really good. Where's the hood? Hey, Mr. Hood. I don't think you were here last time. You mentioned like 5 tickets or something. Can you choose one of them? We're gonna do that one. Otherwise, I'm gonna make someone else choose. Where was the suggestion list? Tube. Okay, let's look at Tube. This doesn't look good. I have some bad news for you. Okay, so I said on high timer, right? On the weekly, this is completely fine. There's nothing wrong with the weekly. It is not that good that you close below this wick, but there's nothing wrong. This is your low. This is your swing low. On the daily, however, you can make a very solid argument that this is your swing low. Because you can clearly see that low, high, low, high. So logically speaking, this has to be a low. So, in general, this doesn't look good. These initial candles looked amazing. And I even posted this in a few groups. Like, the moment we did this, I said, like, this looks really good. Because you're wicking an important low and closing above it. Second one, even better. But now we started building below it before we broke out. I don't like that at all. So, as for this, I think it looks fine because you appear to be building above the mid of this wick a lot. No, you're not. Did we ever close a candle below the mid? No, okay. We made a wick and we never closed the candle above, below the 0.5. I don't know, this is undecisive. Now, on a lower time frame, this is clearly uptrending now, right? On a lower time frame, you clearly broke market structure and you're breaking out of this consolidation range. That looks really good. If you go back down and you get a retest, you can look for a play there. However, I am not sure if I would ever do that for the simple reason that if this coin was truly bullish, if there was actually demand for this coin, then why did we not manage to stay above the previous wick? So This one is a bit undecisive for me. Low time frames look decent. High, like the daily looks like the weekly looks good. I wouldn't personally play this. Now, for harmonics, there should be some harmonics here. That is a 707, sadly. Yeah, no, okay. We at least have some nice patterns. I just realized this chart is probably really hard for you guys to follow. Let me go into a different one. Let me go into a chart that is visible. After a while, you won't actually like see the fans as a mess anymore. After a while, you kind of just accept that they're there. Okay, let me mark this out entirely. Because there is a really nice card here. So I think we flipped that P. Yeah, okay. No, that's the reason why we went lower. So you have a really nice card here. 786 to the 1272 over here. That's gonna be your guarding. And the deep guarding extends all the way over here. This changes things. Okay. This kind of changes things. This makes it look a lot better. Because harmonics always go against market structure anyway, because no matter how you look at it, every M shape is always against structure, because this is always your structure break, right? So that the only indecisive time frame is on the same one as the harmonic makes a lot of sense. Now this looks really good, because now we tapped that deep guardly, broke out above it again, came back to flip it, to test it as support, and accepted above it as support. Now it makes a lot of sense. So in this case, I think this goes higher simply based off of that. TP1 again, 382. TP2 would be the 618. If we ever get back down within this guardly or deep guardly level, I think it is a good buy. Because at that point, it looks really good. Apart from that, you would have to look on a lower time frame. I think this coin goes quite a bit higher, but this is not a place where you can enter. So you would have to go onto a lower time frame and look for a retest. For example, if you... This wick is way too large, this one. For example... No, we already retested that as well. Yeah, playing a retest on the neckline here is tricky, because you already retested this. Oh, what's that? Already retested this. You essentially retested this. You also retested this. You're kind of... No, actually, we kind of skipped that. That's the only other entry I could think of. If you kind of go back down, retest this, and accept above it as support, that's where you can take a long. But that would be a reactionary play. That is not the limit order. The weekends don't always go down. The weekends just have lower volume. And people tend to remember the lows more than the highs, because if there's low volume, what's it called? There's less orders catching. Like there's less, what's it called? Order books are more thin, so single people can manipulate the charts more. So it's not necessarily that weekends always go down, it just moves more aggressively. Yeah, I'm not gonna comment on other people's plays. It's not what's it called? I don't like commenting on other people's plays. Because even with... I always use Archmice as an example, because I think Archmice is a really, really good trader, right? So let's say Archmeister makes a spot position. Yeah, I'll see you later. In my mind, I'm going to be like, okay, that coin is now most likely to go up because he's making a play. He's a good trader. I view him as a good trader. So he's likely to make profit. But I can go onto that same chart and I can only see shorts, for example. That can happen. Even though, obviously, his play is very valid. Because that has happened before, multiple times. And in the end, you both come out in profit. So for that reason, if I would go onto that chart because someone said, hey, Archmeister bought this coin, what do you think? And I said, I think it's going to hit this level and then drop. there's a good chance we are both right. But that person that asks it might be like, hey, you said it's going to go down, so I'm going to exit my spot position now. So for that reason, I really dislike commenting on other people's plays. So I'm not gonna go on to those coins. If you want to know that, just put the ticker into chat, and you will get my honest thoughts. Because there's no way for me to know that it is someone else's position. Yeah. Okay, but anyway, if you get a retest of this, I will look for a position. But I will say this is only a retest play. So I'm gonna put an arrow onto it so people don't get the wrong idea if they look back later on screenshots. Only on a good reaction. If you get a good reaction, that is a point you can play. That's why you can long. But I wouldn't play it as a limit order, because what if it just goes lower and then closes below this, for example? Well, that kind of sucks, because now the area you wanted to retest of just fills. So I would wait for a reaction and enter on that. And then these are going to take profits. And now if we actually do get lower, let me post this in chat. If we actually do get lower, this Gardly and Deep Gardly should be good buy levels as well. Because these two should still hold us support. These are still really nice levels. Okay, I think that was everything. But I feel like I forgot one ticker. I forgot Link. I'm completely missing the Link suggestion. Oh, Jasper left through it. Oh, I'll tag him. Link. Link is the last one, and I'm gonna end it. Okay, let's take a look at Link. Let's see. Very obvious W shape instantly. 0.5 to the 786. That is a very obvious Leo right there. Very good reason as to why we dropped this. There's just a Leo. There's a very harmonic there. Now, in general, this chart still looks really good. And the reason for that is, remove this for clarity. The reason for that is you're still like kind of building above this high. If you mark a higher, we are building above it. So I would still be looking for longs. So if we go on to a 4-hour time frame, those are really nice head and shoulders to just bait people into shorts. A piece of advice with these chart patterns, right? You can see this is head and shoulders. Over here, you see the exact reason why you need to wait for the neckline to break. Like I don't play traditional chart patterns myself, right? I explained a few times why, but in general, I don't play them if they don't mean anything. Head and shoulders, you can make an argument that it means something. But it's very important to note, for a head and shoulders pattern, one, the neckline needs to be equal, because it needs to be bids catching this. That doesn't happen if it is, let's say, like this. This isn't a thing, but you get the idea, right? The neckline cannot be like that. It needs to be level. It needs to be a horizontal neckline. And second of all, you can see a very good example as to why you need to do that here. If you like trading chart patterns, only trade them on a bearish retest. This is your entry. You don't actually take it the moment that pattern completes over here. You take it once you break down below it and then retest it. Because otherwise you're going to end up like this. Because let's look at it in a different way. This is support. If you short, just because it's a head and shoulders, you are shorting support. That doesn't make any sense. So wait for it to break down and retest, and then you take the short. With that being said, there's our Harmonic here. But we can't actually trade that anymore. It's long gone. Let's see if there's anything else. It's a bit sketchy, but there's a shark at least. To that 1.618 B2D, it's above the 886, so that's viable. And then to 113. So to bit of a wide area. Usually I'm a bit more precise, but we've been streaming for a long time already. This will be your shark. So if we ever get here again, maybe wick the lows. Or currently, this looks really good, right? If you get another setup somewhere in this area, this will likely be your target. I'm not someone to actually long or short C points because it doesn't make any sense to do so. But you do have a nice target. And at the same time, if you do that, this will be a really nice entry for shorts. You should also just have that very high turn for Harmonic over there. So I would just enter on these wicks over here. And your validation is just going to be above that shark. This is likely just the range we're playing. There's a very good chance that this is just your range. So as for both of these, I would be careful, especially with this one, because this is likely going to be a very aggressive wick because we have several lows over here. So I'm going to mark this out with an arrow. You need to go below it and then reclaim it. That's your long trigger. And then you short the top of the range. Same reasoning. Tag Jasper. Oh, welcome back here. I always stream for about 2 hours. Which I always. And especially now that I've had a break for a while. Okay, but that is it for Link. Okay. That was the last ticker though. E joined, so we gotta leave. No, this is gonna be the last ticker anyway. Was the last ticker, so I think that is gonna be it for the stream. Before we leave, is there anything you guys want to ask? Anything I forgot? Because I could have missed some. I'm not gonna go over another ticker, but if you have a question, I'll answer it. Is a compounding position strat universal? Like here, for example. Now, that is not something everyone does. It is something that I really like to do, and it is something I partially picked up from Weatherman. He also really likes to do that. Because what it allows you to do is you will get a slightly worse entry, or a better one if the DCA gets filled, but you will get a lot more confirmation. And that is not something a lot of people... Not everyone likes that, right? Because a lot of people are going to be like, hey, I have a slightly higher entry, that sucks. But I value the confirmation a lot more. Having the certainty that a coin is very likely to go up in the direction I want it to, that to me matters more than, let's say, a 5% worse entry. But that's up to debate. Other people do that differently. A lot of people will just refuse to add up. They see important levels getting flipped and they don't want to enter because it ruins their average. And I dislike that. Scalp trading. I'm not a good scalp trader. So if you're really good at that, I really respect that, but that is not something I'm good at, so that's not something I will teach. Just intraday trading is a lot easier though. Can do that. But intraday trading is most of my signals anyway, because they're all like made on like a 1 hour or something. But I cannot really give my thoughts on that. No, calling, like, as an analyst, giving scalp trades is almost impossible. So there's almost no one that's going to do that because that is really, really hard. Yes, Serta does it sometimes. Sometimes you can do it. I sometimes give scalps as well. But consistently giving scalp trades as an analyst is really hard. Because there's always going to be people that just enter late. Yeah, you got to enter really quick. So if I cannot giving beforehand... So I gave one scalp trade. I gave an ETH trade. Yeah, I gave this ETH trade as an SFP on the 1 hour. So I said, if we SFP this little blue line over here, then we enter on the short. Because I can give that beforehand, right? I can give that before the 1 hour closes. Apart from that, it's really hard to call. Because there's always going to be people entering late, and then they enter somewhere over here, and then they're like, hey, why are you TPing when it's like literally above my entry? And I'm like, well, we entered over here on the candle plots. So for that reason, it's really hard to call them. Okay. I'm going to end the recording here as well. That is going to be it for me today. We went over a lot of tickers today, which is really good. And markets look good. So it was a good stream. So I'm ending the recording, and thanks everyone for coming, and I will see everyone next week again.